Chairman Jim Walsh here with Jolie Lansdowne, the chair of the King County Republican Party. We are in Ellensburg at the quarterly meeting of the WA GOP's state committee. But the news lately has been out of Seattle, Jolie's neck of the woods, where the newly elected mayor, Katie Wilson, is acting disastrous, particularly around some messaging and public statements that she's making about how Seattle PD, Seattle Police Department, will interact with federal law enforcement agencies, you guessed it, including ICE, trying to enforce federal immigration law in Seattle. So what this new mayor has done is put out what's basically a kind of slide deck of social media posts, each stating some policy point, which is basically interfering with the federal law enforcement agencies' enforcement of law and encouraging confrontation between local law enforcement and federal agencies. It's the opposite of good leadership. And it is absolutely the kind of political radicalism that we feared this inexperienced young woman who's been elected mayor would bring to the job. Julie, you're there, you're living. What do you see with Mayor Wilson and with some of the police pushback to her crazy suggestions?
Yeah, right there in King County. And, it's good to see our Seattle Police Officer Mike Solis just push back on this and say, no, we're not going to do this. We're, bad leadership, bad advice. We're not going to encourage, our police and our federal officers to fight each other. I agree. It's bad leadership. Saw, pushback in Adams County with the sheriff up there. I think we're seeing kind of a crescendo of pushback, and I think, our new mayor's kind of finding herself back into the corner a little bit. Just, frustration and discouragement growing from the very people that even voted for her, suggesting that $4 million now of their tax money go to, defend even legal fees. This her list of things is not great. And so, I think the people are frustrated. And what we have now in Seattle and King County, these are all the people that didn't, we're down to kind of the people that are like, this is my home, this is my city, we're not leaving. And so I'm encouraged to see the pushback. And again, I just that leadership to encourage folks to, to push back against our federal constitution.
Yeah, it's the same thing we're seeing at other levels. But with this new mayor in Seattle, it's kind of a concentrated problem. The idea of turning one group of law enforcement officials against another and telling the local Seattle Police Department they need to basically report to protesters where ICE is. That's not the Seattle PD's job. And it was very encouraging to see that the Police Officers Guild, the main union of Seattle police officers, putting out a public statement pushing back against the mayor's kind of crazy, zany campus radicalism type rhetoric. But we all have to be part of it. We all have to push back against this heavily weaponized kind of political rhetoric. We're seeing it with the governor, Mr. Ferguson. We're seeing it with the state attorney general. But they even have more of a sense of how government works. The shocking thing about this mayor is she doesn't know how government works. It's like a child putting these statements out. We all have a role, whether you live in Seattle or you don't, in pushing back against this. So we'll include under this video some links to this slide deck that the mayor put together and to the Seattle Police Officers Guild's response. And as Jolie said, the spokesman there is Mike Solon. He's a known guy in Seattle, a very good cop and a good advocate for police. And it's important to see both sides of that so you can see what's going on in Seattle. But ultimately, what this Mayor Wilson is doing is encouraging lawlessness. And that's fine if you're running a protest at the UW, but it's not fine when you're the elected mayor of a major city. Jolie, last thoughts about Mayor Wilson?
Well, she's doing a lot for recruiting local engagement in government. And so kcgop.org, that's my website. If you'd like to find out how to get more involved in local government, it's a great opportunity to do so.
And that's the key that we're talking about here in Ellensburg and everywhere this year. Of course, 2026 is going to be a big midterm election cycle, but the key to everything, whether you're living in Seattle and looking at this goofy mayor, or whether you're concerned about the governor and the others, is you need to get involved. You need to push back. We will give you the tools and the talking points, but ultimately it's your duty as a PCO, as just a citizen, to get involved and help us defend law enforcement and civil society. Jolie, I can't believe you even have to say this.
I know.
But basically defend civil society.
Yeah.
Jolie, you and your crew are doing a great job in Seattle, and everybody, we will keep you informed about the latest trouble and the latest good things. Until next time, be well and stay strong.